everyone, welcome to the channel. This here is Baritone Obsessed. This is a show all about guitars that are 27.5 inches in scale and longer, all the way down to 30 inches in scale, maybe even longer. And this is all about going down to low G standard and lowered, all the way down to E1 standard. Today is weird. And what's weird about today is, yes, it is about baritone guitars, but it's not actually about going lower. It's more about, can these guitars for going lower actually go higher? And it's a weird topic. Just want to take a second to thank everybody with me over at Patreon and YouTube memberships. Everybody who has ever helped at all of these places, thank you very much, but especially people who are with me right now. There have been a ton of comments over the years about this weird thing. Can you tune a 28-inch scale guitar up to E2 standard? So why would anybody want to take these sick baritone guitars that are awesome for going super low and tune them up? Like, why would you want to do that? So what are we dealing with here today? We got the 2020 Ibanez RGIB 21. It is a 28-inch scale baritone guitar, and we're using the D'Addario NYXL 8 to 38 strings. And yes, they are long enough. The tuning officially is E standard, so E2 to E4, typical E standard tuning that you would get on any guitar from any store. I did not replace the nut. I did intonate. I did a full intonation. Did not have to touch the neck at all in terms of the truss rod. The neck on the RGIB 21, if you've seen my demo on that guitar, the neck is massive. Didn't seem to change at all from the, what was it, 14 to 68 strings that were on there down to 8 to 38. That might be food for thought for other people. Action on the bridge, you know, it was fine. It was still as low as I had it set up before. I could have got it lower, but my intention initially was to return this guitar back to G. So yeah, no extensive setup, just a string change, intonation, and that was pretty much that. From what I can tell, there are 3 popular reasons. There may be more reasons, but these are the ones that, you know, I kind of get the most questions about, and it was interesting to muse on, and I'm like, why don't we just make this video and find out what's going on? The very first reason, the most popular reason that people ask this question is they are very tall, very big people. They have giant hands, and they feel very uncomfortable on things like Les Pauls and even Fender guitars. Big hands, reason number 1. Second reason would be one guitar to rule all guitars. You know, a lot of people, they can only have one guitar. It could be a financial reason, it could be an amount of space reason, it could be, you know, their partner prohibits them from having more than one guitar. There's all kinds of reasons. So one guitar to play your low G, low F sharp breakdowns. Because you're into all of that. And also to tune it up to go and jam with your buddies and do AC/DC covers. If you want to use this guitar for multiple tunings, you know, E standard all the way down to low G standard, it does it pretty well. It does even a low F pretty reasonably, decently. And yeah, a little bit of an intonation change, a string change and an intonation change, and you're kind of good to go there. Last reason is super light strings with really great tension. That was maybe the most surprising thing to me. Like playing 8s, I used 8s for this, 8 to 38, and D'Addario NYXL 8 to 38. Not sponsored by D'Addario. The feel of those strings at this scale length is incredible. I typically do not like the 8s. And on a 28-inch scale, the tension is just great. It's butter. And the sound is really lively. It lacks maybe a little bit of bottom end in a way. It's hard to say. I think more experimentation is required there. So the verdict, what is the verdict? This is kind of a lot of personal stuff. I highly suggest that you do this experiment yourself because it's fun and seemingly really easy, doesn't require a great deal of fooling around. My findings in this is I really love the way that it plays. I may actually keep this guitar in E standard for a while because practicing legato and chops and stuff like that might be better for me on this guitar with the super light strings. Something I did find was there's not a lot of bottom end. I'll experiment with it more, but there's not a ton of bottom end in this kind of configuration. So that is definitely something to think about. The mids, however, are unbelievably rich. You know, it's just this pillowy, big mid, big bright mid kind of thing. You know, another thing in the verdict and the findings is the changeover. I already mentioned this, but it was really easy to change it over. I was expecting it to be more of a setup problem, more of a setup challenges or whatever, but it was really easy. It might be just this guitar. There might be some contributing factors to that. I've only done this with this guitar. Thanks again to everyone with me over at Patreon and YouTube memberships. If you'd like to explore either of those things, Patreon offers 3 different tiers and YouTube only 1 tier, the top tier. Thank you very much to everybody with me at both of those places. If you'd like to get involved, the links are down below in the description. If Patreon and YouTube memberships is not your thing, and you're like, Bun, I want to help, but I don't want to help that way. One of those ways that you can help is with music. I make music, I release music, and if you like the music that you hear on this channel, it is available. Huge thanks to everybody who has helped me with music at all, ever. The third, and maybe most exciting way, if you want to get involved with the channel, is assets. Right now, there is the Wetlands assets, the Wetlands Helix tones, and the Wetlands drum pack. If you want to help out, you can help out through assets. And third and final is merch. Crazy t-shirts, crazy hoodies. Anybody who has helped out ever in any of those places, thank you very much. If you do this experiment yourself, I would love to hear how it works out for you. For me, the setup was really easy. It just kind of changed the strings, did an intonation adjustment. The sample at the beginning is what I recorded in E standard. I re-recorded a piece of that foreigns stuff. I had to kind of change some things because some things didn't really work in the higher tuning. But yeah, it worked out mostly and sounds pretty cool. Kind of transformed that tune into something else, like a different kind of feel. Curious how it goes for you. And I'd love to know what your reason for trying this is, or what your reason for doing this is. That's it for this episode. I hope you like this episode, and I hope to see you in the next episode.